Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. The galaxy ignored Earth's warning. Then the unthinkable occurred. The cold metal deck vibrated beneath J. Park's boots as she stared into the endless darkness of space. Epsilon 9 Colony stood as humanity's most distant outpost, a rugged settlement carved into the rocky terrain of a harsh frontier world. Around her, warning systems flickered with an ominous red pulse, indicating imminent danger. Jay's hands, calloused from years of military service, gripped the observation deck's railing. Her steel-gray eyes traced the distant sensor readings as she watched the approaching Galactic Confederation fleet. They were coming, massive starships that dwarfed anything humanity had ever constructed, moving with calculated precision, their metallic hulls gleaming like predators hunting vulnerable prey. But they didn't know humanity's true nature. The colony behind her hummed with quiet preparation. Engineers worked silently, retrofitting mining equipment into makeshift defense systems, while technicians integrated quantum communication networks that would allow instantaneous strategic coordination. Every human knew this was more than just another battle, this was a fight for survival. Jay remembered the stories her grandmother had told her about Earth's final global conflicts, about how humanity had transformed from a species constantly fighting itself into a unified force of incredible resilience. When environmental disasters and global wars threatened to destroy their home planet, humans didn't surrender, they adapted, they innovated, they survived. The first long-range scanners began tracking the Confederation ships. Their technology was advanced, their military might legendary across multiple star systems. They had conquered dozens of civilizations, absorbing their resources and eliminating any potential resistance. They saw humans as just another species to be catalogued and controlled. They were wrong. Epsilon 9's defensive grid began powering up, and what appeared to be simple mining equipment and communication towers transformed, revealing hidden weapon systems. Plasma cannons emerged from concealed positions, and quantum-lock targeting systems came online with a soft electronic hum. Commander Park, a young communications officer, approached with a steady voice despite the tension. The Confederation fleet is now within engagement range, they're not attempting communication. Jay nodded. Of course they weren't, the Confederation never negotiated. The first wave of attack will come soon, smaller fighter craft will probe our defenses, testing weaknesses we prepared for this moment. Every human on this colony knew exactly what to do, how to move, and where to position themselves. Beneath the colony's surface, massive underground facilities housed technology the Confederation couldn't imagine, adaptive AI systems that could reconfigure defensive strategies in milliseconds, and quantum communication networks that could coordinate resistance across multiple star systems instantaneously. Humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to transform challenges into opportunities. Where other species saw limitations, humans saw potential solutions. The first energy signatures of incoming fighter craft appeared on the long-range scanners, sleek, deadly machines designed for precise destruction. But J. Park wasn't worried, her people had spent generations preparing for this moment. Activate defensive protocols, she commanded, her voice calm and clear. The colony around her transformed. What had seemed like a simple mining settlement revealed itself as a sophisticated military installation. Every structure, every piece of equipment, had been designed with multiple potential uses. Mining lasers could become weapon systems, communication arrays could jam enemy signals. Outside, the first Confederation fighters crossed the defensive perimeter. They expected easy prey, they would find something entirely different. Jay watched the incoming fleet, a slight smile crossing her lips. The Galactic Confederation believed they understood humanity. They were about to learn how wrong they could be, as the first energy weapons discharged and the colony's defensive systems roared to life. One thing became crystal clear, this was not just a battle, it was humanity's statement to the universe. We are not victims, we are survivors. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, waiting to witness what would happen next. Wu Kim watched the holographic display with laser-focused intensity. His fingers moved like lightning across quantum interfaces, each touch creating complex calculations that rippled through the colony's defensive networks. The Confederation ships looked beautiful and terrifying, metallic structures that seemed more like living predators than machines, their design suggesting centuries of technological advancement. Sleek curves that could slice through planetary defenses with minimal effort, yet they had never met humans before. Each Confederation fighter carried advanced weapon systems capable of destroying entire settlements in seconds, their computational networks among the most sophisticated in known space. Generations of conquered civilizations had contributed to their technological superiority. Wu understood something critical: technology wasn't just about hardware, it was about adaptation. His team had spent years studying Confederation battle strategies. Every movement, every tactical approach, was now mapped and analyzed. The quantum computers beneath Epsilon 9 colony processed millions of potential scenarios every second, creating responsive defense mechanisms that could change faster than enemy targeting systems could lock onto the incoming primary assault wave. A soft electronic voice announced as Wu's left hand touched a specific interface, and immediately, underground defense systems began recalibrating. What had looked like simple mining equipment started transforming, drill mechanisms became energy weapons, and communication towers converted into signal jammers. The first Confederation fighters crossed the colony's outer defensive perimeter, moving with practiced precision and expecting minimal resistance. Their pilots had conquered dozens of civilizations, this would be another quick victory. They were wrong. Plasma bursts erupted from seemingly innocent geological survey points. The first wave of fighters found themselves caught in a complex web of defensive fire that anticipated their every movement. Adaptive AI systems tracked and countered their approaches faster than any traditional targeting mechanism could. Wu watched the battle unfold like a complex dance, each Confederation attack met with a uniquely human response, unpredictable, fluid, with constantly shifting tactics. Another team member reported, and Wu nodded. The Confederation was adapting to their own military, while their forces had survived countless conflicts by being flexible. Humanity's flexibility was born of something deeper, survival itself. Earth's history was a testament to adaptation. Climate disasters, global conflicts, resource scarcity, humans hadn't just survived these challenges, they had transformed because of them. The battle above Epsilon 9 became more than a military engagement, it was a statement about human potential. Federation ships began experiencing strange system failures, communication networks became scrambled, and targeting computers reported impossible scenarios. What seemed like simple technical glitches were actually sophisticated counter-technological measures developed by human engineers. Each defensive response was unique. Where traditional military doctrine suggested consistent patterns, human strategies shifted constantly. One moment a defense system looked like a communication array, the next it became a precise weapon platform. Wu's fingers continued their dance across interfaces. He wasn't just defending, he was learning, analyzing, and preparing the next strategic move. The Confederation would soon understand that humans were not just another species to be conquered, they were a force of technological and strategic innovation that defied traditional understanding. As another wave of fighters approached, Wu allowed himself a small, confident smile. The real battle was just beginning. The quantum network pulsed with electric blue light, spreading across star systems like living tissue. Hannah Lee watched her creation come alive, a communication system that redefined how humanity would fight. Most people didn't understand quantum communication, they saw complex machines and advanced technology. Hannah saw something more profound, a nervous system for human resistance. Each quantum node represented more than a communication point, it was a strategic hub capable of transmitting information faster than light, carrying complex battle strategies across impossible distances. The Confederation believed they controlled communication networks, they were about to learn how wrong they were. Hannah's fingers moved across holographic interfaces, her eyes reflecting cascading data streams. Every human settlement, from tiny mining colonies to massive orbital stations, was now connected through her network. Information flowed like electricity, adaptive and instantaneous. Her breakthrough wasn't just about speed, it was about intelligence. The quantum network could predict enemy movements, analyze battle scenarios, and coordinate human responses in milliseconds, where traditional communication systems required time and translation. This network understood context, strategy, and potential outcomes. A small alert blinked on her screen. Epsilon 9 colony was experiencing heavy Confederation pressure. Within nanoseconds, defensive strategies from 3 different human settlements were synchronized and transmitted, weapon configurations, energy signatures, tactical approaches, all shared instantly. The Confederation's military had never encountered such a dynamic communication system. Their networks were hierarchical, slow, and dependent on central command structures. Humanity's network was different, open, dynamic, alive. The quantum transmission system behind her wasn't just a communication device, it was a weapon. Every human settlement was now connected through Hannah Lee's quantum network. When Jay spoke, her message would travel faster than light, penetrating every Confederation communication channel. Simultaneously, she had studied their culture, their military, their belief systems. Humans weren't just preparing to fight, they were preparing to communicate in a way no species had ever done before. The Confederation saw themselves as superior civilizers, conquerors. They had absorbed dozens of civilizations, believing technological might meant absolute power. They didn't understand that true power came from adaptation and understanding. Jay's message was more than words, it was a psychological strategy. Her eyes reflected the quantum transmission indicators, each light representing a potential communication pathway, a neural network that could transmit not just sound but emotional context, strategic information, and cultural understanding. When she spoke, her voice would carry more than language, it would carry human experience. The transmission began to the Galactic Confederation. Her voice was calm, almost conversational. We are not asking for mercy, we are offering you a chance to understand us. Every Confederation military channel lit up. Communication officers across their fleet watched in confusion. No species had ever communicated like this during an active invasion. Every world we've touched, we've transformed. Every challenge we faced, we've overcome. The message carried more than words. Embedded within the quantum transmission were cultural memories, glimpses of human history, moments of survival, technological breakthroughs, the collective experience of a species that had faced extinction multiple times and emerged stronger. Confederation leaders would receive not just a message but a psychological profile of humanity. Your invasion ends here. Those 5 words carried a weight beyond a simple threat, they represented collective human determination, a species that had survived global conflicts, environmental destruction, and technological challenges, and had emerged not just surviving but transforming. The quantum network ensured every Confederation soldier, every military leader, every administrative unit would experience this message simultaneously, no filtering, no interpretation, pure, direct communication. Psychological warfare had just been redefined. Jay knew this wasn't just about defeating an enemy, it was about making them understand that humans weren't a civilization to be conquered, they were a force of adaptive intelligence that could transform any challenge. The transmission ended, but its impact was just beginning. Across Confederation fleets, communication systems began experiencing strange responses, military protocols shifted, and strategic assessments started changing. Something fundamental was happening. Humanity had just communicated in a way no species had ever done before. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The human fleet emerged from quantum tunnels like a constellation of technological nightmares, hundreds of vessels, each a testament to human innovation, moving with synchronized precision that defied traditional understandings of space combat. Jay Park watched from the Central Command ship as crew members moved with calm efficiency. This wasn't just a battle, this was humanity's statement to the universe. Confederation forces had spent generations believing they understood warfare. They had conquered civilizations across multiple star systems, their technology was considered unbeatable, their military strategies legendary, they had never met humans. Each human vessel carried technology that blurred the lines between weapon systems and living organisms. Adaptive AI networks connected ships like neurons, allowing instantaneous strategic responses where traditional military structures required hierarchical commands. Human ships moved like a single intelligent organism. The first Confederation response came quickly, energy weapons discharged, creating brilliant streams of destructive potential across the dark canvas of space. Traditional tactics suggested these attacks would annihilate any defending force, but humans were not traditional. Ships that had sustained damage suddenly transformed, weapon systems emerged from what appeared to be structural damage, communication arrays became defensive shields, and mining equipment converted into precision strike platforms. Wu Kim's strategic networks processed millions of scenarios every second. The quantum communication system developed by Hanna allowed instantaneous coordination that made traditional military communication look prehistoric. Confederation commanders watched in growing horror as their advanced targeting systems couldn't lock onto human vessels, energy signatures changed faster than computers could track them. What looked like a vulnerable point became a devastating attack position within milliseconds. Humanity had turned warfare into an art form of adaptation. The battle wasn't just about technological superiority, it represented generations of survival. Every human vessel carried the collective experience of a species that had faced extinction multiple times and emerged stronger. Massive Confederation battleships, each capable of destroying entire planetary systems, found themselves outmaneuvered by vessels that looked almost primitive, but there was nothing primitive about human innovation. Defensive systems became offensive platforms, communication networks transformed into weapon coordination systems. What the Confederation saw as chaos, humans saw as strategic flexibility. Hours passed. What should have been a quick conquest became a fight for survival. For the Confederation, their military doctrine, built on centuries of systematic conquests, began to crumble against an enemy that didn't follow any known rules of engagement. J. Park's final transmission was simple and direct: "Your invasion ends here." Those words carried more weight than any weapon. They represented a species that had transformed every challenge into an opportunity for growth. As the battle concluded, historical records would later show something unprecedented, a conflict in which the defending force suffered minimal casualties while the attacking force was completely decimated. The Galactic Confederation had come to conquer. They left, having learned a critical lesson about humanity: we are not just a species that survives, we are a force that transforms everything we touch. The stars watched in silent testimony to humanity's greatest moment of triumph.